National Geographic Explorer, Destination Moon. Flames burn under the rocket as you blast off. The engines roar. You're on your way to the moon. A few days later, you are close to the moon's surface. The next step is to land. You pick a good spot and the lunar lander moves toward the surface. As you touch down, your heart races. You're on the moon. A bold plan. This may sound like a video game, but it happened. Between 1969 and 1972, NASA, the United States Space Agency, successfully sent 12 people to the moon. Now NASA wants to go back to the moon. It is working on a plan called the Constellation program. If the plan is approved, it will have 3 parts. The first part of the plan is to land on the moon by 2020. Scientists think that studying the moon will help us understand our planet better. Astronauts may also find minerals or gases there that could help with other space explorations. The second part of the plan is to build a space base on the moon. Astronauts can stay there for months. That will give them more time to explore. The third part is the boldest part, to use the moon base to go to the planet Mars. Part 1. Blastoff. Scientists at NASA are already working on the first part of the plan. It will use 2 spacecraft on the trip to the moon. They will be called Orion and Altair. First, a rocket will blast Orion into space from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. 4 astronauts will travel inside. It will orbit or circle around the Earth, waiting for Altair to arrive. Next, a rocket will blast Altair into space too. Altair will carry the equipment. Altair will connect with Orion, and then both ships will travel to the moon together. When they get near, they will orbit the moon. Then the astronauts move from Orion to Altair. Altair will be the spacecraft that lands on the moon. It is called the lunar lander. The 2 spacecraft will separate, and Altair will take the equipment and the astronauts down to the moon. Orion will stay up in space orbiting the moon. The astronauts will explore the moon for a week. Then Altair will carry them back to Orion. Orion will take them back to Earth. The flight back can be dangerous. When Orion enters Earth's atmosphere, friction between the spacecraft and the air will produce a lot of heat. Orion will have special heat shields to protect it. Footprints on the moon stay forever. Why? There is no atmosphere, so there is no wind to blow them away. Part 2. Home Away from Home. In Part 2 of the Constellation program, astronauts will build a space base on the moon. NASA has some ideas about how to do this. Rockets without astronauts could carry large pieces of the base to the moon. These pieces are called modules. The modules will be made from light, strong material. Altair will take astronauts and equipment to the moon. The design of the Altair spacecraft will include things scientists learned from the last moon missions. But in other ways it will be new. Altair will be bigger and it will be made of lighter material. Landing on the moon isn't exactly like parking a car. The moon's surface has thousands of deep craters. It is also rocky and uneven. To help the astronauts land safely, Altair will have super accurate cameras on board. The pictures taken by the camera will help the astronauts steer to a safe, smooth landing spot. Searching for the perfect place. NASA will call the space base the Lunar Outpost. It is still looking for the perfect place to build it. The place must be smooth enough to build upon. It should be interesting to explore, too. The south pole of the moon might be just right. It is warmer than other parts of the moon. It gets a lot of sunlight, too. In 2009, scientists discovered that it even has water. First, astronauts will stay at the space base for a week. Later, they will stay for 6 months. Does the moon have days and nights? Yes, very long days and nights. Each day lasts about 28.5 Earth days. At the lunar equator, that means 14 days of daylight and then 14 days of dark. Life on the moon. NASA has ideas for making life on the moon as comfortable as possible for astronauts. They will bring air and water from Earth, but they might also find a way to use some of the moon. People don't weigh as much on the moon, so the astronauts will work out on special gym equipment. That way their muscles and bones will stay healthy. Spacesuits will be made extra tough. They have to hold up for a long time while astronauts explore the moon's rocky, dusty surface. The moon gets lots of sunshine, so solar panels will make energy. To get around, astronauts will drive a car called a lunar rover. It will be airtight. Astronauts could take off their spacesuits while inside. That will make working much easier. Part 3. From the Moon to Mars. The third part of the Constellation program is really important. At this time, NASA is planning to send rockets and astronauts to Mars. Gravity on the Earth is much weaker than Gravity on the Moon is much weaker than it is on Earth. This means rockets can lift off more easily from the Moon. Still, a mission to Mars won't be simple or quick. It will take astronauts 6 months to travel there. Then they will stay on Mars for another 18 months. Heading home will take another 6 months. NASA's bold plan will not happen right away. There are some problems to be solved. But the people at NASA will work hard to do what they can so they can explore these areas.